Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into the absolutely incredible true story of the one pirate whose real life was, honestly, way more unbelievable than any myth you've ever heard.
Okay, so let's get this straight. When you and I think of pirates, we picture, swashbuckling adventures, chests overflowing with gold. But the reality, the historical truth, was almost always grim. It was a brutal, nasty, and very short life, usually ending in disease or at the end of a rope.
Except for one guy, a man named Henry Avery. In just 2 short years, he became the most successful, most famous pirate on the planet, pulled off one of the biggest heists in all of history, and then just vanished. He's the one pirate whose life really was a legend.
So let's start at the beginning. A sailor's path, from the Royal Navy to a life of crime.
So who was this guy really? Well, his early life is a total mystery, but his career at sea was like a masterclass in brutality. And what's wild is that his journey, even before he hoisted the pirate flag, tells you everything. He starts as a decorated officer in the Royal Navy, a legitimate hero, and then becomes a notoriously cruel slave trader. This timeline shows he wasn't some desperate sailor forced into piracy. Nope, he was a calculating, ambitious, and ruthless opportunist from the get-go.
All right, now we come to the moment that changed absolutely everything. The point of no return. The mutiny at La Coruña.
See, Avery's ship was on a privateering mission. Now what's that? Well, it's basically legal, government-approved piracy. They were hired by Spain to attack French ships. It was supposed to be a sure thing, a path to legitimate riches. But the whole thing just fell apart, creating this perfect storm of anger and desperation.
The mission was a total disaster. The crew got stranded for months in a Spanish port. Their employer just ghosted them, refused to send their wages, and to top it all off, their captain was useless, usually passed out drunk. So you've got this whole crew, abandoned, unpaid, and absolutely furious.
And this is where we see Avery's genius for leadership. He steps up and orchestrates a brilliant, nearly bloodless mutiny. He uses his charisma to unite all that anger and turn it into action. I mean, think about it. He convinced a whole crew of sailors to risk immediate execution to follow him into the unknown, all based on his word. It's incredible.
So now he has a ship and a loyal crew. And this brings us to the heist of the century, targeting the Mughal treasure fleet. Avery did not start small. With his powerful new ship, which he renamed the Fancy, he set his sights on the biggest prize imaginable, the Mughal Empire's annual treasure fleet. This was considered completely untouchable. But he knew he couldn't do it alone, so he sails to the Indian Ocean and builds a pirate alliance, even teaming up with the legendary pirate Thomas II to go after the richest convoy in the entire world.
Okay, but here's the crucial thing. Just look at these numbers. They were massively, ridiculously outgunned and outnumbered. The 2 main Mughal ships had way more men and way more cannons than Avery's entire pirate fleet combined. On paper, this attack wasn't just risky, it was a suicide mission.
And right away, the plan goes completely sideways. During the chaotic chase, most of the other pirates get lost. Thomas II himself is killed instantly by a cannonball, and his ship takes off. So in the end, it all comes down to Avery's ship against the main treasure vessel, the absolutely colossal Ganji Sawai.
And then, something unbelievable happens. Avery has one of the most incredible strokes of luck in naval history. One of his very first cannon shots shatters the main mast of the Ganji Sawai, completely crippling it. A second later, another shot actually hits one of their cannons, causing it to explode on their own deck. The fight was basically over before it even really started.
Avery's crew boards the ship, and after a short, brutal fight, they seize the single greatest pirate treasure in history. The gold, the silver, the jewels, it was worth an estimated 400 million euros in today's money. It's a mind-boggling amount. And true to his word, Avery made sure almost all of it went directly to his own men.
But this heist didn't just make them rich. Oh no. It made Avery the enemy of all mankind and kicked off the world's first global manhunt.
See, this wasn't just a robbery, it was an international incident. The Mughal emperor was so enraged that he blamed the entire nation of England and shut down all trade. This one pirate attack threatened to bankrupt the all-powerful East India Company and bring the entire British economy to its knees.
So to calm the emperor down and get trade started again, the English Parliament did something they'd never done before.
They declared Henry Avery hostis humani generis, an enemy of all mankind, and put a truly enormous price on his head.
£1,000. That doesn't sound like much today, but back then it was a staggering, life-changing fortune. It was more money than a normal person could ever hope to see in their entire life. And just like that, it kicked off the world's first global manhunt. Every navy, every bounty hunter on the planet was suddenly desperate to find the fancy.
And that brings us to the final, most mystifying chapter, the Vanishing Act. How on earth did he disappear?
And here's where the story just gets insane. Despite being the most famous criminal in the world, Avery brazenly sails to the Bahamas and bribes the English governor there for protection. Of course, the governor eventually figures out exactly who he's sheltering, but by the time he makes his move to capture Avery and claim that massive bounty, it was too late. Avery and his inner circle were gone, having slipped away in the middle of the night, vanishing from the face of the earth.
So what happened to him? Seriously, historians have been debating this for centuries. Did he get cheated out of his money and die a beggar? Or did he pull it off, retiring quietly to live a life of incredible wealth? Some theories say he settled in America under a new name. There's even a wild new theory that he was secretly pardoned to become a spy for the very king who was hunting him. We just don't know.
In the end, the man who outsmarted an entire empire, the man who inspired a whole generation of pirates, the man who launched a global manhunt, was never caught. His treasure was never found, and his story leaves us with the ultimate pirate mystery. Was he a cunning pirate king, a brutal criminal, or maybe even a royal spy? We'll probably never know for sure.